And don't worry, if you didn't get this week, there's always next Sabbath. Today's story is from a very long time ago. It's from before Miss Amy was born, which seems hard being this age, but there was a couple. And when they started out in their marriage, they were very happy, not only in their own love, but in the love of God. But as time went on, the husband started noticing things at church that he didn't like because he started noticing the things people did. And it started making him jaded and upset. And before he knew it, he didn't even want to go to church. And so he did. He stopped going to church, and his wife continued on. Years of this continued, and he started feeling this bitterness inside, so upset at the world and everything around him that he started finding himself after work every day heading over to his local bar with some of his friends to drink away his sorrows and anger and pain. And he would go home to his loving, compassionate wife who was just always bubbling over with God's love. But he just didn't understand where that came from. He was so angry inside. Well, one night, he was doing as usual. He had went to work, and after work, him and a couple of his colleagues went to the local bar and started drinking. And it was getting late, and one of the guys was bragging about, I've got the best wife. I have got the best wife. She could cook or bake anything. She doesn't even need a recipe. And oh, the way she keeps our house clean. Oh, I've got the best wife. And then the other guy's like, you have nothing on my wife. Oh, my wife. You should see the things she can create. The wonderful festive holidays we have in our home and the big events we do. Oh, nobody's as good as my wife. My wife is the best. And then this gentleman's like, oh, no. No, 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 no. You guys have nothing on my wife. My wife is so good and so obedient and so wonderful that we could go home right now and I could tell her, make us some breakfast. And you know what? She'd do it. No, they all looked at their watches. Do you know it's past midnight? No wife is going to get up and make you breakfast at midnight coming in the way we are. You're crazy. No, no, no. You're just making up lies now. Oh, no, no. My wife will do it. And to prove it to you, we're going. And so they started marching home in the dark, in the cold, talking about, nah, she's not going to do it. Oh, yes, she is. You'll just wait and see. And finally, they get to this doorstep, and they're starting to sober up again. And they're realizing, ooh, this might not be the best decision I've made. But they open the door, and he yells up to his wife upstairs, wake up, woman, I want breakfast. And they're just like, oh no. Oh, they're just waiting for this woman to come down the stairs. What are you doing? Why did you wake me up? What are you thinking? But instead, they watched as this very kindly looking woman came out in her robe and she looks down. She's like, oh, well, yeah, I'd be happy to, honey. Are your friends hungry too? Yeah, of course they are. Okay. And she goes down the stairs and she goes in the kitchen and you could hear things sizzling and cracking and all the sounds that you hear of food cooking. And they're sitting at the table and he's got a big smile on his face. I told you my wife was the best. Look, she's doing it, isn't she? But his friends aren't really impressed. They're actually ashamed. They can't believe they just did this. They woke that poor woman up at midnight and she actually is making them food and they didn't think this is how things were going to happen. And now as she's in there making the food, they feel so embarrassed and so much guilt that they think, you know what, we're going to go home. But she's making, no, we're going to go home. Thank you anyways. And they quietly slip out the door. And he's sitting there at the table and he's suddenly starting to think himself, oh my gosh, maybe I am being rude. Maybe I shouldn't have come home and just asked her to make food for me like that. Why? Why did she do? Why is she so good to me? And then she came in with all these plates of food and she looked around. Well, honey, where'd your friends go? They went home. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did I take too long? No. And now he's got tears coming down his cheeks. Honey, what's wrong? Why are you so good to me? Well, you're my husband and I love you. Yeah, but I'm not that way to you and you're my wife. Oh, honey, I know, but I love you. I know, but you're good to everybody, not just me. You're so good. Why? The wife saw this as an opportunity. She sat down, she embraced her husband, and she said, well, honey, I'm good because I've got Jesus's love in my heart. I every day pray, Lord, come live within me. Put your goodness inside of me because I'm not a good person, but with him I am. And I know someday he's going to come again and he's going to take me to heaven with him. And I'm going to live in an eternity of happiness and joy. And all my sorrows and pains and the worries of this world will be gone. But my love, you have chose this world instead. And so I want to make this life as happy as I can for you because right now, you're not going to get a second life. You won't be with me in heaven. And that makes my heart so sad. And so all I could give you is this life. And so I want to make it as happy and comfortable for you as I can. And suddenly it dawned on him. His wife wasn't good or loving or kind because that was just inside of her. It was because of Jesus's love. And he suddenly realized in this moment, he wanted that. He wanted Jesus' love in his heart too. And as he sat there crying, his wife put her arms around him and they prayed together that Jesus would enter into his heart to create a new heart for him, that he would find God's love once more. And after that, they started going back to church as a family. They started doing Bible studies together. And within a year, you would never have known that that man was the man, grumpy and grouchy and always going somewhere else but home. Now, he was a deacon in the church and he was helping out all the time. And he was one of the happiest, kindest men you would ever meet. And it brought me to this verse. King David, he was a man after God's own heart. But you know what? He wasn't perfect. And on one of his imperfections, he wrote a beautiful, beautiful poem and a beautiful verse that I love. And it comes from Psalms 51:10. And I say this one a lot in my prayers because I need it. It says, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Daily, I have to ask God to create in me a clean heart because I know the love and the joy and the smiles that you see on my face, they are not my own. They are only because God gives me his love, his joy, his smiles. So as you go into your new year, every day I hope you wake up and you say, thank you for this new day. But you also remember to say, create in me a clean heart, oh God. Make me anew every day. And he will. He really will. Don't look to the others around the church. Look to him alone. Now, I have a little treat for you guys as you go back. And I hope you have a wonderful start to this new year.